Edit, go live. Going live. I'm live? Am I live? Hi. Am I live in here? Why am I black and white? Why am I black and white? What has happened here? Okay, fascinating. Output. Streaming. General. Theme, dark, output. What is this? Preview. Studio mode. Okay. Set color. What is... I don't know why I'm black and white. I don't know why I'm black and white. I don't know what's happening. File. Tools. I don't understand what's going on. Controls. So I don't know why I've faded to mostly black and white. That is super interesting. I hope that people can hear me though. Hi. Welcome back. Hi. Hello. Can you hear me? Bless ya. Okay. Okay, so we can hear me. Sound and video. Albeit black and white. Yes, and I don't know why I'm black and white. I'm tempted to just embrace it, because, you know, why not? Okay, I'm gonna go back to my streaming studio and see if there's some, like I don't want to reset the stream. I don't know why it's doing this. I thought it was a preview thing, but apparently that's just what it's decided to do, and I don't know why. And I don't know if I can change it within the stream. So if I can't change it within the stream, then we're just gonna work in black and white. And that'll be interesting. And yeah, fascinating. Yeah, okay, all right, so I do have this, and I also have my dead bird of the day. He's got quite a bit of Yeah, well, it's just going to be a fancy artsy stream. It's a little bit interesting because this guy's got a bit so I had some kind of woodpecker type family, fairly similar actually to the yellow-bellied sapsucker that I've got. I think it was a yellow-bellied sapsucker. Yeah, so it's very similar to this yellow-bellied sapsucker that I had, that my brother found near my parents' house, but it's a little bit less yellow on the front and a little bit less, there's a little bit less going on the head, so I think that this is probably a female. But that's that, and I will set that up, say over here. It's not quite black and white, but it's like near black and white. It's like I chose a fade setting, but I can't for the life of me figure out where that might be and how to change it within the stream. So that's interesting. Like, I wonder whether this is one of those things where because I'm already live, I can't change it. Very fascinating. Stream settings. Stream URL. Enable DVR. Customization, like, is there some... Yeah, I don't know. So it's not in that, and it's not in here as far as I can tell. Like, settings here, video. Downscale filter. Advanced. Video color format. Like, why do I have... Maybe that's it? But I can't change anything? General? Hotkeys? Like, is that how I... Scene collection? Okay. Weird. Sure. Yes. Okay. Scene collection. And tools. Help. File. Source icons. Blah, blah, blah. Da, da, da. Anyway, I'm gonna paint this. I'm gonna, I guess this is an opportunity to just paint in monochromatic. I was gonna do casein, might as well keep that up. We're gonna do a monochromatic. I'm gonna start with this, which you can totally see is a yellow. It's a Naples yellow. Ooh. To you, it looks gray. I'm gonna do that, maybe? Or maybe I'll do a blue. Yeah, no. I'm gonna start with this, and then I'm gonna do this Payne's gray on top. That's what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna get a piece of, like, a plate, and I'm gonna start working. Yeah, super weird. I guess I can. Yeah. Maybe you have a filter on your game. If you right click on your game capture source, yeah, I'll just have to figure this out later. It's fine. Yeah, but so the thing is, like, there's one setting in my OBS Studio that seems like it's got partial color, but I don't, it's frozen, like I can't change it. So it's like, if that was ever a thing I could edit, it no longer is, because I guess because I'm live, maybe? It's like the one thing that I can't seem to change here. Continue, yeah, so like if I go here, maybe if I, video capture device, set color, says clear, order, transform, does not seem to be anything, deinterlacing, scale, filtering, nope. Still no. Nope. Okay. Fascinating. And if I color source, audio capture device, color source, okay, weird. Filters, effect filters, defaults, close. Seems like it's not that. Nope, not that. And properties. Nope, that's not what I want. Ooh, okay, well now we're something. There's a little bit more color. What in tarnation? That is so strange. Okay. Okay, well, we're not gonna do that. That's weird. Okay. I guess that's about as close as I'm gonna get to real colors. Fascinating. Fascinating. I am so confused. Okay, so here's my little bird. Now you can see some colors on him. Her. I think this is a girl bird. She's a yellow-bellied sapsucker, I believe, although I didn't look this up. This is only based on the fact that she looks like a little bit more of a desaturated version of this one, so probably the same sort of bird, definitely a sort of yellow belly, and because she's more desaturated than the one I had found before, I'm assuming that this is female, whereas that one was likely male. That's my guess. I'm gonna start with this angle, maybe? Yeah, I'll figure that out. And then I'm going to go back to where I can read your comments. Okay, and I'll just watch this where I can watch the... Okay, all right, here we go. So, sorry, you wanted to see a page with some color? Here's a page with some color. It still seems a little bit desaturated, but it's not too bad. Okay, we're all good. And so now I'm back to streaming from home. So it took a little bit of setup today. And I will have to... today's going to be a relatively short stream as well because I have a thing afterwards that I need to get to. But I will... Yeah, I'm happy to be streaming from home again, and I will be doing this again. Unfortunately, my home studio is still under construction, so yeah. I still have a little bit of work to do on that. But, sorry, just finding brushes. Oh, this should work. Yeah, okay. Great. And then, sorry. And mixing plate. So first, I'm gonna take this nice Naples yellow and, oh right, I'd forgotten that in casein Naples yellow is somehow like super duper yellow, and some titanium white and some, oh, let's do some yellow ochre. Yeah, that seems great. Yellow ochre. Yellow ochre. Oh my goodness. This is a little bit drier than I would like. Hopefully there's some wetter paint down below. Oh. Uh-oh. Ah. Well, that's kind of disappointing. Maybe I'm not using yellow ochre today. Do I have another sort of earthy color? I'm gonna have to mix it. So, this home studio is still a construction disaster. Okay. Apparently, we're just gonna have to mix it because Naples yellow turns out in this medium is super bright, and I'm gonna use some Payne's Gray. Oh, I haven't used these paints in a long while, and apparently they set in the tube, and they're leaking out the back. That's not great. Okay, so apparently you need to use casein, you know, more than once every never. It's not like watercolor that lasts forever. This is leaking in the tube. So hopefully there's still enough chooch in it that it can do the thing. I'm just gonna have to, yeah, because oh wow, that's very green. That is very green. Let's see what else I have. I have some cat orange. Maybe we'll try some cat orange. That seems like a color. Yep. Alright, well, yep. I'm just gonna roll with this. I'm just gonna use some of this here and start putting down a really, like, I'm just trying to do a really thin layer of something over here. She says putting down an absurdly thick layer of stuff. I'm just trying to get the white of the paper out. This feels so weird as like primarily a watercolor artist to be doing like, oh, I'm getting the white of the paper out, but we're trying to learn from other disciplines. So I'm gonna throw some casein on there and then just keep on scrubbing that. Let's throw some more of the orange. Yep. And then hopefully this will dry up pretty fast while I chat about life and stuff. How's everyone doing? Maybe if I blot some off. That seems interesting. Yeah, try that. So, this morning, instead of setting up a stream, so usually I'd have all day to set up my stream, take my time, but it's grant writing season. So there's grants due next week, and this is how I intend to pay for my assistant. So it is important that I apply to grants, and so we contacted a local so we found a place that will make me panels. So I've been working increasingly large. So first of all, I was applying to grants, and so I have a 22 by, oh boy, yeah. I have a 22 by 30, so that's like an imperial full-size watercolor sheet. that I have been, that I've got one of my tree bark paintings on, and I wanted that digitized professionally so that I can attach it to the grant applications for that project. And also I want to be able to attach that to a panel so I can frame it without glass. And also I wanted to have panels made that are even larger, because that's the largest that you can get in watercolor sheets. Any larger, I mean, you start running into issues with even, you know, when you go to frame, sorry, okay, this should be plenty of paint put down. I'm just gonna let it dry for a moment. That orange, dang, it's gorgeous. Right, yes, yeah. So that's it's a nice bright orange. And then I've got, yeah, more of an ochre color that I've mixed over here. And added some red around the edges, and so I'm hoping that that'll add a nice bit of contrast once I'm putting in the blue blacks for the bird itself. Yeah. I missed it, sorry, what kind of paint are you using? I'm using casein. So this is a milk protein paint. It is somewhere between gouache and oil paint in terms of behavior. So it dries sort of like gouache, like it's got the same sort of drying time, and it'll pick up layers similarly to gouache, but it does eventually form a weak film, so it doesn't, unlike gouache, which is a water-based media that's always re-wettable, this will form a bit of a film. It's sometimes used as underpainting for oil, but it's matte, more like gouache, and it's not a very strong film, so you still probably want to at least varnish it if you're going to present it on its own, but you can use it directly on paper. There's no oil that sinks through. Yeah. There's, if you ever watch James Gurney, or he's also got some really great art books. He uses casein sometimes, but it's not a very common paint, at least in modern times. But it's like a really ancient technique for building a binder for paint. One moment. Aha! Okay, so I do have burnt sienna, and that's gouache. That's what I wanted. What is this? Also gouache. Well, maybe we'll get some gouache at the very top to get some of the blacks in. It's actually even older than ancient Egyptian times. There's Stone Age evidence of milk paints, milk-based paints that predate agriculture, like livestock agriculture. So the milk in question may have been human milk, but there's evidence of milk binders in cave paintings. Yeah, it's super cool. Okay, so All right, so this one is defrosting a little bit. Oh, poor buddy. Snapped his beak a little. Her beak a little. Snapped her beak a little. Okay, I'm gonna grab a pen of some kind. Wow, that's a lot of pens. But none of the ones I want. Oh, does that happen? Okay, never mind. I'm going to grab a... Does this pencil have lead in it? Maybe? Does this pencil have lead in it? Yes. Okay. To be honest, I have no interest in learning other techniques. Well, so for me, I mean, I love watercolor. I feel like I'm always going to be a watercolor artist, first and foremost. This one's a really skinny pencil. Maybe I have something a little thicker. Use that. Sorry, yeah, I'm not interested in acrylic in particular. The main reason why I like trying other media is just I feel like there's a lot that you learn from, like different techniques. Like I'm used to transparent watercolor and there's a certain order that you work in, but it's very much like drawing in a sense where you always get deeper and darker colors, and like there's a limited amount of working in the opposite direction. Whereas so so therefore it ends up being a very like line or like small area based medium, whereas rather than something I think of like gouache and casein and oil as more of a sculptural medium, where like especially the casein and oil where there's a film that forms because you paint out these shapes and then you can glaze over it and like push things in by deepening areas and like pull them back out again with lighter forms. So it's like in some ways it feels more, I mean it's still two-dimensional but more sculptural in a way, and I feel like that's a skill in terms of seeing things that like I can bring back to watercolor. You know, like watercolor is what it is, but you can still bring back some of the like what you learn in other media. If that makes sense. Okay. let's bring this guy a little closer. Anyway, there's the place that we went to is in Hamilton, which is about an hour away from where we live. So today I went out to get, yeah, some work scanned and some work put on panels, but we're going to get some really huge panels because I'm going to be doing some watercolor at 5 feet by 10 feet, which is so like the very largest that they can do. So I need to, yeah. So that's super duper exciting. But it means that I was out on a road trip this morning rather than preparing for this stream. So here we go, and I'm gonna start putting down like but that's where I also think it's useful to have some experience with other media, is as I sort of push the boundaries of what watercolor can do, there's a lot that I can learn about how other media works, if that makes sense. I like the convenience of watercolor, but not that imposed ordering so much. Yes, well, I mean, I've developed an appreciation for, well, I feel like I came from drawing. And so, in a way, watercolor is a natural, like, you know, it's most similar to that. That imposed ordering is most similar to, like, how you would draw. And not necessarily that's a not necessarily a positive in the long run, but certainly as far as, like, you know, it's satisfying to get somewhere, to have some positive effects early on. That definitely was more convenient for me picking up watercolor. Now, at this point, yeah, the main reason I love watercolor is the convenience, the flexibility. Like, I feel like that's just not offered by any other medium. Nothing is as portable, as flexible as watercolor. And so, like, I do think that I'm likely to always be primarily a watercolor artist, but I think that there's a lot that I can learn from other media, and that, so I enjoy experimenting. Alright, so then we're gonna get nice and dark down here. Let's get this nice and dark down in this area and into here. And then down here I got something that's a little bit less dark. I'm not very good at advanced planning in my painting, so I struggle with traditional watercolor styles. That's an interesting... Yeah, I guess it does take some advanced planning. I find, well, I mean, one thing that I think has helped with a little bit, certainly, like, it's mostly a thing that I've learned within watercolor, but that maybe originally came from a little bit of experimenting is, hi buddy. Yeah, Ember, I do not want you here. Please do not be here. Go see it. Oh, Destiny's gone. I see, that's why you're here. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. One thing I've learned from, like, mostly within watercolor, but that I think at least came from, like, reading about reading or watching content from other artists who work in different media is a little bit of, like, working towards the middle. So instead of just going, oh, I'm just going to keep on darkening and darkening and darkening and preserving my whites, sort of put in some patches of very darks first to sort of ground yourself and build up. And I mean, I think that that's something that a lot of, you know, experienced, talented watercolor artists do too, but it's a little bit counter to the, like, oh, well, you can only go darker, and at least the initial, like, thought that comes with that, if that makes sense. So here, you know, I'm blocking in my darkest darks, and at the same, and then alternating with putting in my brightest whites, and then working towards the middle. And that's something that I actually do a lot of in watercolor. Is like, okay, where are the darkest areas? And I might not get them quite as dark as they will at one point be in watercolor, but you can get things quite dark if you're like, well, this is going to be the darkest area, so, you know, you can get it to, like, well past a mid-tone, and then that helps ground the rest of your painting without you having to know exactly where your end point is for any given area. Which is like, I guess, still a kind of planning, but it's a... I don't know, feels different somehow. I'm not sure I'm making much sense here. Hi, Ev! So nice to see you! So I am back at my home studio, hooray! Although it's still a disaster, there's still a huge pile of flooring at my regular desk behind me, so I'm at my computer desk, but had to reset this. But here I am, hooray, it feels so nice. Yeah, I'm playing with different media. So I recently got, I recently bought oil paints, and I don't quite have all my oils and mediums lined up to really play with them properly yet. But I had tried oil paints at a residency with another artist and really enjoyed them, so looking forward to exploring that. And these are sort of like, you know, they have some similarities to oils and they have some similarities to gouache, and so figured I have these casein paints, I might as well use them, which is apparently turned out to be a good plan, but I maybe should have gotten to that like a year or two ago, because my tubes, some of them are quite crunchy. Nothing's quite as long lasting as watercolor, as it turns out. And then we're going to take some of these guys over here, get some more in here, get a little bit darker, a little bit more of this. Okay, I need a little bit more of that there. Quiller's book on casein is on Kindle for 25 Canadian. Oh! Mind you, I don't do Kindle and similar very well. I need traditional printed media. And even then, man, I went to this residency that was up on an island, so very limited electricity. And suddenly I was reading again. Like, I haven't been able to read books for, just ages. And it turns out that it's just because of technology. Like, the moment that you take some electricity away from me, and I don't have, the endless internet scrolling at my fingertips, I was suddenly painting more and suddenly also able to read books. It was kind of amazing. Need a little bit more of that yellow there. A little bit more of that yellow. Yes, let's get a little bit more of the yellow in there, and a little bit more orangey stuff in here, and in there, and in there. Yeah, paperback is 40. Yep. Way more, but way more likely for me to actually read it. Especially if I can then take it to somewhere where, like, you'll take away all my tech and then I have to read it. What if I do this then? Get some more of these whites in here, and in here, and in here. Hi, Paulo. Okay, I should actually, I'm not leaving, but I need to send a message to my dog park people. Because I have a games night tonight with some people, and I need to let them know that I am coming, but that I'm going to be late to the pre-meetup. Let's see, messages to people. Jamie, Harley's mom. Dog park pre-game. And then other Jamie. And Julie. Julie, not Julia. Julia's not Laurie. Okay, and I guess probably I don't need to message anyone else because that's 2 people who can tell the rest of the people. Perfect. Casein is one of the paints James Gurney uses a lot. Yes, I think he is like one of the only like fairly like popular and like has a you know, media following artists who uses casein to really any extent. And that he's definitely the one who set me onto it. It is really nice in the sense of it's very much like gouache, but I find that gouache is a little bit too, like, you can't really layer it very well because it's so easy to lift. And so casein is just a little bit less fussy in that way. In that it does actually, you know, form a bit of a film, and you can work with that to an extent. And then it's just a little bit more permanent once it's down, you know, won't rub onto the next page as much. It's like, in many ways, it's a friendlier gouache. I mean, it also has some similarities to oil, but yeah. And then let's get this one in here. And then we can do one of these, do that. A bit lighter.
I hope you have a better plan than I did.
Yeah, you'd need acrylic gouache if casein was not a thing. Yeah, so it's kind of like acrylic gouache too, but acrylic gouache destroys your brushes like acrylic, and casein doesn't, so that's a thing. Like, I have no problem using the same, I mean, I don't feel any need to use my nicest sables on casein, because it's like, it's got a little bit more body, so it would wear them down faster. But I also don't necessarily have, yeah, it's like, it's not the same issues that I might have with like, I don't want any acrylic anywhere near any of my watercolor brushes, thank you very much. That's just gonna destroy them. And that's not really the case with casein. Like, I will go on to use these brushes again with watercolor. Whereas for oil, I had to get a whole different set of brushes, because once something has touched oil, it's never going to be a watercolor brush again. And with acrylic, technically you could use them, but they destroy brushes so quickly. Yeah, exactly. So this is similar to gouache in that respect, where it's like there's no reason to use that I can discern to use, like, why would you use a sable brush on like, you probably want a stiffer synthetic in most cases for well, be it casein or gouache. I'm having trouble getting the values any kind of correct here. It's just not wanting to do the thing. Okay, let's get some more of this in here, and then some. Yes, cotton and synthetic brushes are great for gouache. They're great for casein. Like, basically, I treat it, yeah, I would say this is like casein, but in some ways I actually find, casein is a lot like gouache, but in some ways, despite the fact that it's not water-based technically, I find it a little bit more flexible. It's like somehow it re-wets more when I need it to re-wet more and less when I need it to re-wet less, if that makes sense. Where I have both problems with gouache. So this is going to be a tiny bit rushed. I don't like rushing these things, but I do have another thing I have to get to. These days right now are packed. So this is just a social thing that I'm going to, but it's also the middle of grant season right now. And grant applications are just my least favorite part of being a freelance artist. And you just, that's a little chunky in here, and then I'm just gonna have to have a great weekend. Okay, and then this can be over here. Let's see if I can get a nice dark going. Okay, and then, let's see. Okay, and then I'm gonna get some of these. Yep, this in here. Okay, I think I'm gonna call this for today. I will probably darken it up with something in a little bit, but I can't really do that without letting this set for a little while. And I am in a rush to get to another thing. So thank you so much everyone for joining me and for the patience with setting up this stream earlier on. And I will see you later. Thank you. Nope.